Sixers on a bit of a skid currently, but still the 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. And for the most part, the Sixers have looked very good this year. There were a lot of questions going into the season of how would the Sixers look without James Harden and not replacing him with another star. But the question has been pretty much answered. I mean, the Sixers are deep. They're talented. They got several guys that are giving you 20 on any given night. Tyrese Maxey has really evolved and emerged as like that second co-star to Joel Embiid. And he's playing excellent brand of basketball. Joel Embiid is playing one of the greatest seasons we've ever seen. I mean, he's been an absolute monster. But the Sixers could use that other constant, right? That other guy that they can rely on a nightly basis. There are still questions about playoffs. Joel Embiid does have a history of kind of just disappearing in the playoffs. So it'd be nice to kind of have that guy to kind of help offset that, especially with Tyrese Maxey evolving. Now, the thing is, though, you got to be very careful with that guy that you bring in, right? Because you don't want to bring somebody in that's going to take away from a Tyrese Maxey or Joel Embiid. You want somebody that's going to come in and complement those two guys, plus the other pieces around, and be a guy that could be a good need and also just provide scoring and defense and things like that. So you need the right complementary piece. That's why the rumors of Zach LaVine, right? There were rumors of Zach LaVine not too long ago. I don't think make a lot of sense. Even a guy like a Donovan Mitchell, I don't think make a lot of sense because they kind of give you what Tyrese Maxey gives you. I think you need somebody that is a little more consistent and in other areas other than just another scorer. Sixers aren't really struggling to score the basketball, but they need that piece that I think could put everyone together. That's why the more recent reports of the Sixers' interest in Dejounte Murray, that to me makes a ton of sense. Because bringing in Dejounte Murray, now you don't have to, Tyrese Maxey doesn't have to be the playmaker and be relied on so much to make plays. That doesn't mean he can't still make plays, but now it's not, he can focus on what he does best, which is just scoring the basketball and going and being a bucket for the Sixers, right? Get a guy in a Dejounte Murray, that gives you a point of attack defender at the guard position, right? Gives you a guy that can operate and be the playmaker for you, make plays, set up Joel Embiid, get him the ball in his spots, allow Maxey to play off the ball and be consistent in that regard. Kind of like the idea of like what James Harden came, right? James Harden was more of a playmaker in a lot of ways for Philadelphia than he was a scorer, but he still was able to go get buckets. However, he was relied on to kind of balance both, where now that Maxey has evolved into that second guy, I think going and getting a guy like a Dejounte Murray, he's not a superstar. He's not some guy that's going to be heavily demanding. He is a guy that I do think could come in and play that third role, but also just fill a need that the Sixers have, which is a guy that could be a playmaker, put everybody in their natural position. So now Maxey, again, he can kind of be the shooting guard. He can kind of be the scorer. You get that guy in Dejounte Murray who can be the main on-ball defender at the guard position. He can defend the best guard on the other team on any given night, right? And you still would have plenty of balance, plenty of versatility. Also, Murray, I do think is going to cost a bit, but I don't think he would cost as much as, say, a Donovan Mitchell. Right? Now, I think he'll cost more than, say, a Zach LaVine. But again, I don't think a Zach LaVine makes sense for the Sixers, right? Because if you get a guy like a Zach LaVine or Donovan Mitchell, they need the ball in their hands. They need to score the basketball. Yes, they can play off the ball, especially Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine's 45% catch and shoot threes. So you could still kind of keep Tyrese Maxey on the ball. But I just think Zach LaVine, his particular skill set, I think is only really needed by like a couple teams. Obviously, like a team like the Lakers, and then a team like Miami, I think would be very beneficial to go get a guy like a Zach LaVine or a Donovan Mitchell, right? Where a team like the Sixers, I look at them and I go, they got plenty of guys that can just go get buckets. They have like 4 guys averaging 20 a game. They don't necessarily need that guy. And if you go and bring in a guy like a Dejounte Murray, again, there's your other guy that could still go get you 20 on any given night, but he's a guy that can defend. He's a guy that can pass the ball. Although his defense has been questionable this season, he hasn't been great defensively this year, and there are questions of will he and can he turn it around, but also a change of scenery. He is a guy that was on an all-defensive team a couple years ago, so again, if he can, he can't be worse than some of the other guys, right? So you bring him in, you allow him to kind of play the playmaker role. The issue he's having in Atlanta is he's not an excellent shooter. He's shooting the ball well this year, 38%, but he's a career 34% from three, right? So it would be great if he can maintain that 38% with the Sixers. That would just be a home run, but even if he doesn't, it's not as bad because you have plenty of shooting. You have plenty of guys that are able to score the basketball. Dejounte Murray gives you that mid-range threat, which is very important come the playoffs, right? Because in the playoffs especially, protecting the paint and then running shooters off the three is the two main key components. That's why you see a lot of like the teams that advance far throughout the playoffs are usually teams that have multiple mid-range guys. Murray gives you that, gives you a guy that gives some athleticism out on the perimeter, that gives you a guy that can apply some rim pressure. There are concerns about him and his finishing at the rim. That's something that's kind of always been a knock on him. But I do think he gets to play a role where he gets to be the on-ball guy, which you need, right? Doesn't mean that Maxey can't be on the ball at times, but you are in a position where you can kind of let Dejounte Murray play the point guard, which when he gets that chance, he's up there with the best of them. I mean, the guy is ridiculous in that actual point guard role. Problem with Atlanta is Trae Young is so on ball and so ball dominant, one of the highest usage players, that Dejounte Murray's playing off the ball a ton, and he's not great at it. He's better this year. He's been much better this year playing off the ball than he has in the first year that they were together. But when he really shined was when he got to be the point guard. And I think he needs to go to a team where he gets that opportunity to be the point guard, right? There's talks about the Knicks being interested in him. Knicks is another team that I think makes a lot of sense for Dejounte Murray. Again, Brunson, I understand, is kind of your point guard, but he is more of a two guard than he is a point guard. He can find the open man, he can hit the occasional cutter, but he's not a great playmaker. He's more of like, just give me the ball and let me go get you a bucket. Get a guy like a Dejounte Murray, that can happen. And to me, I look at Tyrese Maxey a lot that way, right? He's capable of making plays. He can find the open man. He can find the occasional cutter, but he's not a guy that you want just necessarily wheeling and dealing all game, right? So if you have a guy in a Dejounte Murray that can come in, he can be your third guy. He can be your main on-ball guy. He can make plays. You can run pick and rolls and pick and pops and all kinds of stuff with Joel Embiid. He can find the cutter. You can run sets, run play. You got a true kind of point guard that has good size, good strength, good abilities that are a need for the Sixers. And I just think he would be a nice complementary fit. Because, again, the Sixers really have to be cautious on who they push their chips for. And I'm not saying that they should sell the farm to go get Dejounte Murray. I don't think that at all. But I do think that the juice would be worth the squeeze for Dejounte Murray if you were able to pull that off, again, for the right price. Right? Sixers are kind of limited on what they can and cannot trade for. Salary-wise, they're fine. They have plenty of salaries, but it's like all the other things. And could they work it out to where they could get a Murray and another piece? Could they get a Murray and maybe like a Sadiq Bey or a Murray and maybe like a Hunter or something? That might be a little tough, but you do have Tobias Harris's a big contract, right? So, I mean, I think the Sixers and Atlanta do make a lot of sense as trade partners. Atlanta could get some draft picks, could maybe get a complimentary piece or whatever, and maybe you work it out in a 3-team deal, whatever, right? But the point is I think Dejounte Murray makes all the sense for the Sixers. As far as like guys that we know are available at the moment, right? If somebody better comes along between now and the trade deadline, then maybe that's the guy that they go look at. But I don't think that they need the Sixers. I don't think that they necessarily need another like super duper star. I don't think that they necessarily need a Donovan Mitchell. All right, just using him as an example, right? I think that they need that complementary third guy, and I think Dejounte Murray would be that. Dejounte Murray's not your best player, he's not your second best player, but as a third player, if he's allowed to play the role that he is best at, I think could be extremely valuable. Gives you another guy that could just go get a bucket, be another guy that could just apply pressure to defenses, and also make plays, make things easier for Maxey, make things easier for Joel Embiid. I think that this would be a bit of a match made in heaven. But Anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass a question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you like the idea of Dejounte Murray on the Sixers? I mean, the Sixers are interested in him, and to me, it makes sense. I get why they are interested in him. But do you feel the same way? Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I would love to hear it, so let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot, lets me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate you all. See you in the next one. Thank you.